Hey, let's go speaker view. Here we go. Here we go. Babe, do you have the remote? You know the remote that I'm talking about to keep these guys?
Yeah.
Please, so I can do training and not have them go crazy. All right, so if you're just tuning in right now, I'm doing a training. My name is Tony Martinez. I'm the owner and founder of TKO Financial Network. My phone number is 239-784-1118. Feel free to hit me up on a text message. Let me know what city you're in, state you're in, and obviously, if you have any interest in talking to us, I'd love to be able to help you guys out. But I've got right now roughly 30 guys on from about 7 different states, 8 states, somewhere around there. And we're training today on final expense, okay? I'm going to tell you what my perspective is on final expense, okay, and how I would get into a meeting for final expense. What I've learned is that some agents are very transactional. Some IMOs will teach you to be very transactional with final expense. Go in, run a quote, make a sale, get out. Go in, run a quote, make a sale, get out. Here's the problem with final expense. Most people are making those sales through lead generation. I need you to know something. If you're working leads work. Number one, I'm not dissing leads in any way, shape, or form. So please don't get this message that way. Leads work. However, you, number one, got to work the leads. And number two, you got to know that behind you is going to be another 5 to 7 agents trying to sell that client. It's going to happen. And I don't care who, if you tell me, oh, well, you know, I'm buying exclusive leads. Shut up. It's only exclusive for a certain time period before that company resells that lead to somebody else, number one. Number two, there's nothing at all stopping the client who filled out that questionnaire from going to another website and filling out another questionnaire. There's nothing stopping that. So even when you buy an exclusive lead because you developed your own ad or you're working with a company, like my company provides exclusive real-time leads. We have a marketing company that'll put together commercials for you guys. And that commercial is 100% yours. And when the lead comes in, it comes in real time and it gets sent directly to you. And I need you to know something. There's nothing stopping. There's absolutely nothing stopping that client or that prospect from going to another website and filling out another questionnaire and another website and filling another questionnaire out. And if you don't think that happens, do me a favor. Type up final expense insurance on your Google browser. Wait 5 minutes and then go to Facebook. Tell me if you don't see 10 different ads on Facebook pop up, all about final expense. You could type up anything you want. You could type up, you know, what's something recently that I was, let me look at my Facebook real quick. I'll tell you what it is actually. I recently got a motorcycle. Yeah, I just got a motorcycle. Just got a brand new, well, not a brand new, I got a 22 Yamaha 1300. Okay. But I was looking up motorcycles on Google. You know what I get now on my Facebook? I get so many different advertisements from motorcycle companies selling motorcycles. So think about that. It doesn't matter if that client filled out a questionnaire that is exclusive to you. There's nothing stopping that person from filling out that questionnaire elsewhere. So what does that mean for the final expense agent? You got to be different than everybody else. You got to be a major separator because you need to understand 4, 5, 6, 7 other people are going to be calling that person later on, trying to replace the business that you put in. And if you're thinking the client's not going to do that because it's the best price, it's the best this, it's the best that. Guys, I promise you, if you don't build relationships with those people, if you don't build rapport with those people, and you don't create a separating factor from you and that and everybody else, that business will get replaced. It's one of the reasons why final expense has such high attrition. Okay, now, with that also being said, we write a lot of final expense. We write a lot of final expense. How do we do it? Simple. Number one, don't assume that they're not going to be interested in another product outside of final expense. When I get into a presentation for final expense, a couple of things I always want to make sure that I do. Number one, I always try. Can't say that I'm always successful, but I try to make my first meeting a virtual meeting. If I can avoid having to get in my car and drive, I could save an hour's time in the day just by staying home. Number one. Number two, if they prefer belly to belly, you got to give them options when you're scheduling the meeting. You got to understand the millennial, the baby boomer generation is very cautious of COVID-19. Okay, don't just assume that they're comfortable with you just walking in their door. if you don't present them with alternatives to seeing you and still being safe and still practicing social distancing, they might tell you no just out of that fear of a random stranger coming into their house that they don't know. They might, okay? So when you're scheduling the meeting, give them options. Mr. Client, I want to make sure that I'm respecting how your belief system is in reference to COVID-19. Okay, I've got a couple different approved methods for us to meet. We can meet on a virtual platform if you're comfortable. I use Zoom. How comfortable are you with that? If they're comfortable, great, schedule it. If that's not something you're comfortable with, Mr. Client, I could meet you at your doorstep. I'll be driving XYZ car, like I drive a Ford F-150 gray Lariat, right? So I'm driving a gray F-150. I'll pull in. All I need you to do, Mr. Client, is come outside the door so I can verify your identification and that I'm speaking to who you say you are. And from that point forward, we can transact over the phone. You could be in the comfort of your home. I could be in the truck, and we can transact over the phone. How we can do that? Okay. The other option that we could do is I could bring with me a small little fold-out table, 2 chairs, and we can meet in front of your doorstep. We'll practice social distancing and be 6 feet apart, but at least we're outside in the open air. Right. And the other alternative after that is if you're okay with me coming to your houses, we'll come to your home, but I'll still practice social distancing. I'll bring with me some gloves. I'll bring with me a mask. I'll bring with me some hand sanitizer and make sure that I'm practicing social distancing. Right. And if none of those, and if you're not concerned with COVID-19, right, and again, this is assuming you're also not concerned with it, then Mr. Client, I can come in freely, make sure that I hand sanitize my hands and come to the door and shake your hand, and we'll transact business. How do you prefer for us to meet? By giving your client those choices from the beginning, you're alleviating a lot of reschedules and a lot of cancellations. Sometimes people won't tell you why they're canceling. Sometimes people won't tell you why they don't want to meet, and it could be because of that. Sometimes you could save yourself the trouble of having to drive if you're okay doing a virtual meeting. Simple as that, right? But schedule your meeting. Schedule your meeting and be prepared. Be prepared to have that one way or the other, okay? Number two, make sure you're giving them something to look at before they meet you as a way to solidify the meeting. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Here, let me show you what I have. And I can create this for any single person if you wish to have it, okay? I have a website that I created for myself. Okay, hang on a second. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. Let me share this screen. You guys looking at a big old green Google sign, right? Yes, no, maybe, nod your head. Yes, okay, good. All right, so if you go to TonyMartinezFinance.com, this is my personal website. I like to give this to all of my appointments. I want them to search me out. Remember, there's nobody that referred me to this person, so there's zero credibility of who I am. And the biggest thing people are worried about is fraud. They're about to give you at the end of a meeting their social, their date of birth, their driver's license info, their medical records. Like, they got to know that you're a real person that they're comfortable with doing business, especially if it's virtual. But give them this. So you schedule your meeting, and then you know what I do the very next day, Mr. Client, here's my website. If you want to research who I am, you'll learn a little bit about me personally, professionally, and I even included a link to check me out in the state website and validate my insurance license. I look forward to meeting you. Right? This is mine. My legal name is Jose Antonio Martinez, so I have to show them that. Tony Martinez, there's my license number. Look what you have. Home. Look at my quote. Insurance and savings are the tools by which we tell our families, I love you even after we're gone. My picture, a bio on me professionally. I got to update that picture. Another picture of me with Sandra, a bio of me personally. I got to build rapport with them. They got to see that I'm a real human being. So I give them a personal bio on me, right? Credibility. You want to look up my license? Bam, here's my insurance license. Right? You want to look me up in the state? Bam, here's the state website. And guess what? My insurance license number is at the top here where you can research me out. So I give them a lot of things to validate I'm a real person. I'm not a scam artist. I include pictures personally about me, right? Look, there's my 2 dogs, right? There's my son and I when I was coaching him for his basketball team. Right? There's on stage, there's my kids for my 38th birthday, there's my daughter when we're doing face masking, there's a motorcycle that I had That was a fun little toy that we wrote for my birthday as well too. So I'm using it to show them I'm a real human being. I'm a real human being, right? Remember, scam artists, they don't have these types of trails. They don't have so much work putting into to validate who they are. I give them, the services that we offer, life insurance planning, retirement planning, e-commerce. There's the additional services that we offer. Here's the carriers that we represent. Here's my email, my contact, and oh, if you want to follow me on social media, there's my my handles. Where if you click it, it'll take you directly to my social media page. I give them this, guys. This website, for any of you guys that want this website, my website developer is ready to recreate this exact same thing and personalize it to you for 250 bucks. Like, it's dirt cheap. It's dirt cheap. You know why it's so dirt cheap? Because she's amazing at what she does, and she lives in Venezuela. So the US dollar stretches out there a heck of a lot more than it does over here. I'm just being honest with you. She's really good at what she does, and she operates very well. So I had her do this for me. I think this is a great tool that people need to be leveraging. You need to be able to leverage something like that, okay? So that's number one. I scheduled a meeting. So if it's Monday and I scheduled a meeting for Tuesday, I want to give them something to look at, right? Remember, the other thing you want to try to do, and I'm not a fan of this unless it's final expense, confirm your meetings. Confirm your meetings. Confirm your meetings. These people in the final expense world are retired. They don't have to be at home taking care of kids. They don't have to be working. That generation of people will just get up and say, I'm hungry, honey, let's leave, and bounce. They will. You got to confirm with them. You want to know what I do to confirm? Video messages. Video messages. Add that personal touch. Don't just text message them that. Okay? Take your phone, do a quick little video. How you doing, Mr. John? Mr. Jones? Just letting you know, I got you scheduled in my calendar. I'm looking forward to seeing you today. Okay, I'll be driving a gray Ford F-150. I'll see you right at 3 o'clock. Have a great day. Boom, send them the message. Send them that video, boom. And then delete it from your phone because you're gonna burn through your memory like no other. But you gotta create that personalized touch. You got to, okay? Now, you meet them. You're there, face to face or virtual. If you're virtual, this is what you want. You see this background? A professional environment. They don't need to know that I'm operating from home, right? Your family needs to know, hey, they need to keep it down, right? Don't put your camera where people can walk behind. I'm up against a wall. Nobody can walk behind. Nobody can walk behind. I've had meetings, no lie. No lie. I've had meetings. I'm literally having a professional meeting, and then behind me comes walking out a dude, with no shirt and underwear on because he just got out the shower. He's just walking right by. You don't want that. You don't want that. Okay. Professional yourself, right? What do I have? I have certificates, I have plaques, I have pictures with high identity individuals. You know what I'm saying? I have my camera not on a table. Look, I'm hitting my table, but the camera's not vibrating. My camera's on a tripod, right? I have a light up on me so that I'm clear. I invested and I got a 1080p camera that cost like, I think it was like 60 bucks on Amazon. Like I prepared my environment. I got a microphone. I prepared my environment for a business meeting. If I'm gonna go see them, you want a little black binder, yellow legal pad, not white. Yellow legal pad because yellow, the eyes can see. Black highlighter, black Sharpie, because it's clear, it's clean, not a pen. Now, when I meet the client, okay, and I'm gonna tell you all right now, I'm gonna go a little bit longer. Remember, at 10:15 today, I have a live recruiting interview, so this is going to go a little bit longer. Feel free to hang out. If you need to absolutely go, we are recording this, so you'll be able to kind of catch back up, but I would love it if you guys hang out. Now, when I'm in the meeting, knock on the door, right? Miss Jones, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. You wipe your feet at the door, showing respect for the house. Let them make sure they see you wipe your feet. When you get in the door, what you're looking for is the dining room table. You want to transact business, you transact business in a dining room table, not the living room. If they want to take you to the back porch because it's outside open air, that's fine, but you need a table. You need a table, okay? You definitely need a table, okay? If they ask you for a drink, which they will, you accept. You accept, okay? Don't be that, oh my God, I only like Zephyr Hills bottled water. Listen, accept the water that they're going to give you. Psychologically, okay? Psychologically, You accepting what they're offering you shows them that you're comfortable in their home. And if they see you're comfortable, they get comfortable. That's how it works in a household. They want to know that you feel comfortable. Accept the water, right? If you're the person you're like, no, but they're offering me Coke, they're offering me, juices. I don't want that high sugar. Then let them know, hey, listen, do you have water? I'd love a glass of water. Accept the water. Okay. Yeah. Good. Good. Okay, cool. Now, something I like to do, you don't have to do it. I like to do it. I like to request to go to the restroom. And the reason I request to go to the restroom is because I say a prayer when I'm in the restroom that I do right by that person. I do right by my family. I do right by the industry. I do right by this meeting that I'm going, and I come back and I sit at the table. That's just me. You don't have to do it. That's just my own mentality of doing it, right? If I'm going to the field in a warm market, right? You guys remember top 25s. If I'm going to the field in a warm market and I'm bringing with me the trainee, and the trainee knows the person we're meeting with, I go to the restroom to allow the trainee to edify me while I'm away, because it feels weird to be edified, like, right? You're just sitting there standing, right? It's just weird. So I'd rather leave to the restroom and let the edification happen. But again, that's not part of this training. This is final expense. So you're not going into that meeting with a trainee who knows the prospect. This is a lead. So you don't have that. But I still like to go to the restroom and say a prayer and come back. Okay. This is how I start. Rather than being transactional, Mr. Client, you made a request that you're looking for some final expense insurance. Tell me what was on your mind. Look at the questions that I'm asking. Tell me what was on your mind. You guys understand feel, felt, found? If you get to understand them emotionally, I promise you'll retain them. Doing these types of things is different than every other insurance agent that just wants to be transactional. You know what a transactional sales agent does? Hi, Mr. Client, you're looking for life insurance. What's your budget? 50 bucks. Let's run some quick quotes. For 50 bucks, I can get you $15,000 with this company, or I can get you $17,000 with this company. What would you like to do next? No. Mr. Client, what was on your mind when you thought about getting insurance? What were you trying to do? Well, I just want to make sure my family is covered. We're getting older now. We're using up our assets. That's what they're going to tell you. I just want to make sure I'm not a burden to the family. Okay. Mr. Client, are you aware of how much it is that you actually need to cover all these last expenses? Do you know if you want to have a cremation? Do you know if you want to have a full burial? Do you know? You know what I'm doing right now is I'm building rapport with them, and I'm showing I have a knowledge of the industry. I have a knowledge of that process. Cremation will cost you about $5,500, right? A full burial might cost you $10,000 to $20,000 depending on how much extra services you want to provide. What are you looking for? Are you looking to get flown back to your native country, right? That happens a lot, especially in the Latino community, right? Right? Are you looking to, right? That's an additional $3,000 to fly you. Mr. Client, do you know who would be your beneficiary? Does that person know that we're having this type of a meeting today, and that I should probably be in contact with them to let them know what the protocol is in the event of? Notice I haven't ran quotes. I haven't talked about price, nothing. What was on your mind today, Mr. Client? What are you looking for? Right? Are you looking for insurance for both of you? Are there other assets that you're going to be leaving behind as well? Guys, that question, are there other assets that you're going to be leaving behind as well? That is such a huge cross-selling question. That is such a huge cross-selling question. You know how many times they might say, well, we're living off of our Social Security and my pension, but I've got an annuity that's, it's got $300,000 in there, and I haven't turned it on yet because, wait, what? Right? Oh, I got $40,000 from my old employer. Wait, what? Right? Jodeci, I'm recording this, so you ain't got to worry about it. It's going to be uploaded to the YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, log into my website, TKO Financial Network. In the top right, there'll be a YouTube button. Click it, subscribe, hit the ding-a-ling, turn on the notifications, all that good stuff. But anyhow, that's the kind of questions I'm asking in that meeting. Remember, the person you're talking to is somebody's grandmother and grandfather. They're somebody's grandmother, grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Like have that sense of sensitivity for them. So you know how many times some of those people, they're just so sick and tired of being alone in their house. Their kids don't call them. Their grandkids don't come visit them. Sometimes they just want to talk to somebody. I block off 2 hours for final expense meetings, guys. Because that building rapport, I promise you, it'll save you from so many replacements and so much chargebacks. You have no idea. It really will. And I promise you, to open the door for them referring you to other people, because the 65-year-old client has a 40-year-old son or daughter. And that 40-year-old son or daughter is in the midst of their career and making the most money that they're probably going to make. And they got, 30, 40 grand put away right now in a 401k. And they've got 2 or 3 other children. And that's a huge opportunity to build a relationship and open up more cases inside of that family tree. That's called nesting. But you got to do that first person right. Some agents are afraid of that. I've spoken to some final expense agents. You know what they tell me? They say, Tony, I'm afraid to ask for the beneficiaries' names and numbers and get them involved because I'm worried that their son or their daughter is going to tell them that they don't need the insurance and cancel it. If you're that person, you're not bold enough then to make some of these big money moves. I'm bold enough. I want to know who your son or your daughter is. And I want them to know when they meet me that I mean business and I'm good at what I do. I'm not average. I'm not okay. Damn it, I'm the best at what I do. And your whole family's blessed to be working with me right now. That's what I want them to feel like. Well, my mom and my mom doesn't need that right now. Let me ask you a question. Why don't you think your mom needs that right now? Are you guys going to cover that bill? You are. You're sure you're going to cover the bill? Yes. Let me ask you a question. Who's working with you right now to help you get to retirement and make sure that they're challenging you to save up money the right way? You get what I'm saying? Like, I go in like that. Here's another thing I'm going to tell you. By you requesting to speak with the children, immediately you're gaining a lot more respect. Immediately. When I can call their son or daughter, is this Tyler? Hey, Tyler, how are you? Nice to meet you. Listen, my name is Tony Martinez. I'm giving you a call because I met with your mom, Mary. Did she tell you I was going to give you a call? Yes, she did. Okay, listen, I'm going to be real frank with you right now, Tyler. I'm calling you because I love my mother. I love my grandmother. And I would want, if somebody contacted my grandmother and was selling them a policy, I'd want that person to call me to make sure that whatever they were selling them was the right thing for them. So I wanted to take the initiative and call you and say hello to you. When can we sit down for 10, 15 minutes? Like, bam, I'm there. You get what I'm saying? I'm building rapport. What are we looking for today? What was your reason for needing insurance today? Oh, I needed it because of this. I needed it because of that. Okay. Do you know what kind of burial you're looking for? Are you looking for cremation? What are we looking for? Okay. Now, Mr. Klein, let me ask you another question. Have you thought about a budget? Right? Have you thought about a budget? And where's that budget coming from? Are you generating Social Security and other assets, or are you just generating Social Security? That question, pause for a minute. Are you generating your income from Social Security, or are you generating it from Social Security and other assets? That lets you figure out how limited they are on their income. Guys, I promise you, anybody who's only living on Social Security, is writing the poverty line. Look at Irvin right now. He's like, oh, hell no. Anybody who's only living on Social Security is writing the poverty line. You know right then and there, there's no upselling opportunity there. Don't do them a disservice and sell them something that they can't afford later. Anybody that says, we have Social Security, we have other assets, we have other investments, their chances are they might have other things now that you want to learn about. That's what that question is about. Have you thought about your budget? Yeah, well, we don't really want to spend more than $100. Okay, and that $100, is that solely coming from Social Security, or are there other assets it's coming from? Simple as that. Now, here's my presentation. Again, if I'm in face-to-face, I take out a legal pad, yellow, black Sharpie. If I'm virtual, I'm going virtual, I'm going in, right? So, Mr. Client, I want you to know there's 2 types of insurances that you can pick from. Okay, 2 types of insurances you can pick from, okay? The first one, we're going to call this one, we're going to call this one the Lexus. How does this Lexus work? It's very simple. Mr. Klein, how old are you? I'm 65. Okay. 65 years young, right? They'll laugh. I promise you they will. Okay. It's corny, but I promise you they will laugh. I think Irvin is laughing a little bit right now. He's covering his face. Irvin, you see, he's laughing. All right. So Mr. Klein, the way this Lexus works is I'm going to give you anywhere from $2,000 to $30,000 worth of life insurance. And this is going to last you from 65 all the way to 120 years of age. Now, this insurance is probably going to cost you about $75 a month to $150, depending on how far to the left or how far to the right it is that you want. How does it work? It's simple. You make your monthly payment, and when you pass away, we leave your family with this amount of money as a death benefit. Simple as that. Very simple, right? Now, if you happen to pay into it, and the amount that you've paid in when you add it all up is equal to the amount of insurance that you've signed up for, you will no longer have to make any more payments. So if you signed up for $10,000 worth of insurance and you add up all your monthly payments after 10 years and it's $10,000, you no longer have to make any more payments into this plan. It is now paid up and you have the insurance for the rest of your life. Pretty simple, right? Now, this is what we call final expense insurance. Very plain vanilla. Access to this money is death, terminal illness, or if you need to tap in the money because you need a nurse to take care of you because you can't dress yourself, feed yourself, or anything in that capacity. Does that make sense, Mr. Client? Yes, great. You know what I do if I'm face-to-face? I tear out that yellow page, that yellow piece of paper, I put it on top of the table, I take out another legal pad. Mr. Client, now I'm going to talk to you about another type of car that we have. This type of car, so that you know, is the best of the best. Mr. Client, what is your favorite car? I mean, if you won the lottery today and you could buy whatever car you want, what would it be? Watch this. Watch this. Irvin, if you won the lottery today, you could buy whatever car you wanted. What kind of car would that be, Irvin?
Lamborghini.
Hey, I like it. Right? You ask them what it is, right? All right, so this is going to be called the Lambo. How does a Lamborghini work? Well, you're 65 years of age. I'm going to give you insurance all the way to about 110 years of age. Okay? Now, this insurance, you can go as low as 25,000. You can go as high as 2 million. I mean, this lets you get a lot of insurance. You're going to have the death benefit when you pass away, but we're going to give you one added feature, and that's called a living benefit. You know what living benefit is? Living benefit means if you develop a cancer, a stroke, or a heart attack, you're going to be able to tap into this money while you're alive. And if you need a nurse to take care of you, you can also tap into this money while you're alive. And you can use that money for whatever you want. The medical expenses, the living expenses, you can do whatever you want. You can do with that money whatever you wish. You don't got to pay it back, and it's completely and utterly tax-free, right? Now, this plan, on certain occasions, not every occasion, when you're 20 years in, so 65 plus 20 would make you 85. When you're 20 years in, you can cancel the insurance completely and get a refund of some of the money that you've already paid in, roughly about 50%. Now, a plan like this, so that you know, Mr. Client, this is going to cost you $200+ easily per month. $200+. All right. The more you want, the more it's going to cost. But let's say you did $200 a month. Can you do the math to that? Right. Take out my calculator. $200 times 12 months, 2,400 times 20 years. You would have put in about $48,000. We'll give you roughly about half of that back. We'll give you like $24,000 back on the 20th year. Not all companies offer that, but I'm going to fight to try to find one that does. If it doesn't have it, then you just make your monthly payment and you've got a larger amount of coverage with greater access until 110 years of age. Now, Mr. Klein, let me ask you a question. Based on the two types of cars we talked about, the Lexus and the Lamborghini, which of the two are you more interested in from a value standpoint, but more importantly, from a budgetary standpoint? Because I want to make sure what you do still allows you to go out Fridays, Saturdays, and Sunday nights and take your lovely wife out to dinner. Which of the two would you like to do? And they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you. Now, here's what I have to tell you. First of all, let me ask you this. Anybody have any questions? What I just explained? No? Everybody's good? I'm looking at the questions. A lot of statements. Okay, cool. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, Tony, I've seen your 4 types of insurances presentation, and the The Lexus is usually the GUL, and you made the GUL. This is a GUL, by the way, right? This last presentation I just did is a guaranteed universal life. And I call it the Lambo. Why? When I do the 4 types of insurances, there's other programs, products available. But when I'm talking to someone who's 65 plus, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, IUL is not an answer. It's not even an option for a 65-year-old. It's not. Term insurance is not even an option for a 65-year-old. If you sell them term insurance, the most they're going to get is maybe 15 years of coverage. And it's going to be astronomically expensive. So do yourself a favor. When you're talking to final expense clients, 65 plus, take out term, take out IUL. You got two options. You got a final expense, which is a whole life policy. You got a GUL. And the psychology is I got to make one of them a lower model car, and I got to make another one the best car. So that's why when I do it that way, I have a Lexus and a Lambo, or a Lexus and a Bentley, or a Lexus and whatever their favorite car is. You know, sometimes that generation will tell you a 1967 Cadillac, whatever is their favorite car, that's the GUL. But they got those are your two options, Mr. Client. Which one makes sense? Look at my question. Which of the two products, from a value, but more importantly, from a budgetary standpoint, are you more interested in? Because I have to make sure that on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sunday nights, you can still take your lovely wife out to dinner. That matters, guys. That generation, guys, the baby boomer generation, they're all about service. Service. They're buying you. They're all about service, guys. That is the shake your hand, look at you square in the eyes. That is the my wife is coming into the room. I'm going to stand up. I'm not just going to slouch and sit. That is the I'm going to be dressed at least business casual with a button down tucked in and a pair of khakis. That is the I'm going to show you how much amazing customer service I can provide you. That is the customer's always right generation. That is that gen. That is not the text message to confirm generation. They need that personalized touch. You got to give them that. You want to help keep business on the books? Because look, you could be transactional and you'll sell. You will. But I promise you, there's some cases there you could have sold something bigger. I promise you, there's some cases there where you could have gotten referred into their family. You could have opened up IULs and annuity rollovers and a bunch of other stuff. And I promise you, you're going to lose cases if you become a transactional sales agent. You're going to lose them. Because I need you to understand, when you leave, there's going to be 5 other agents behind you they're going to call because that name came up on their lead list, and they're going to try to solicit, and they're going to say, I got something that's cheaper. And just because that client, the agent that comes behind you has something cheaper doesn't mean that it's better. Believe it or not, there's a lot of crooked ass agents out there that'll try to sell that person an accidental death benefit policy rather than a traditional one just because it's cheaper and not tell the client that. You can't control that, but what you can do is build enough value that that client doesn't want to leave you and they feel guilty if they do. That's what you want. No, I'm good. I've got my agent. I'm covered. Thank you so much. That's what you want. That's what you want, guys. You want to bring that extra value. You want to bring that. And when that meeting ends and you close that sale, let them know this. Let them know, hey, Mr. Client, I just want you to know, my department's also offering state-approved legal packets that include a last will and testament, a medical care directive, and a power of attorney. Do you have those documents there? You don't. Okay. Well, why don't we set up a time next week to go over what that packet does and fill it out? Guys, do you know in that packet is a series of questions of who the beneficiaries would be, who the emergency contacts are. You know what that list is? That's a hot list of referrals. So don't think that I'm coming back, for nothing either. I'm coming back to bring added value, but I'm also coming back to build on that rapport and build on that relationship. But Tony, how do I get access to that Kaizen Soulmate packet? You know what I'm gonna do now, right? I know you know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you the tools, right? So you go back into the TKO website. Actually, that's my website. Controls. Go back in the TKO website. Scroll down to documents and resources. Boom. Then you go where? Let me see here. We're going to go into FNA Kaizen Soulmate right here. You have a brochure. The brochure is what I do for drop-bys. If I'm knocking on doors and I don't have scheduled meetings, I leave that brochure at people's doors. Or the actual Kaizen Soulmate packet, which is this one right here. Look at this. You should print this out in a cream colored paper, cardstock, make it nice, laminated, do whatever you need. You've got a client, invest, okay? But it includes, you know, a letter from the policy. I'm humanizing the policy, and it's a letter from the insurance policy to the client, letting them know, hey, when you're no longer here, I'm going to take over and I'm going to take care of your family. Like, read the letter on your own time. An open section for parting words. Write a farewell message to your loved ones, right? Sometimes that message is what helps a grieving soul, you know, recover. But then look, agent information, first policy, second policy. But they only bought one from me. But you want to know about their second policy to see if there's any opportunities there. Third policy, fourth policy, fifth policy. Beneficiaries. Look at this. Mr. Client, Miss Client, who would you name as your beneficiaries? Well, my primary is going to be my husband. Okay, but who would be your contingents? Guys, I promise you, 65 plus market, that generation is that generation is the 5, 6, 7 kids generation. That's the 5, 6, 7 kids generation. I got 7 kids. Give me their names. I got 16 grandbabies. Give me how many of them are adults? I got 10 of them that are 18 and up. Give me their names. That's my hot list. There it is right there. It's a hot list. Assets. What assets do you have? I got a 401k. I got to know this. I got to know that. I got to know this. I got to know that. That's cross-selling. So I come into that second meeting for that. Talk to me about your liabilities. Oh, I got a lot of credit card debt. Well, have you thought about credit repair? There it is. Right? Guys, this is a huge tool that you got to be able to use in order to cross-sell. It's a huge tool you got to be able to use in order to cross-sell. I come back on the delivery with that packet ready to go. Ready to go. Now, I'm going to tell you one more thing, and then I'm going to let you go, because I believe I got somebody who's going to hop on here shortly. And for those of you who want to stay, let me see here real quick. If there is a Bob Rizzo, if you're on, unmute yourself and let me know. Now you're going to hop on here in the next minute. So, okay, here's what I do when I leave the table. I tell them this. I go, Mr. Client, I want you to know something. Well, let me ask you a couple questions, Mr. Client. When I had first called you and you didn't know who I was, how did you feel? You know, they're going to tell you, I was a little sketchy. After having met me and after having sat down with me and really seeing the value we bring to the table, how do you feel now about knowing me? Oh, I love it, young man. It was just a great experience meeting you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Mr. Client, I want you to know something. In the next week to 6 months, there's going to be at least 5 other agents, 5 other insurance agents that don't work with me that are going to call you. And they're going to ask you to cheat on me with them. They're going to ask you to meet with them because they're going to tell you they have something that's $3 or $4 or $5 cheaper than what I have to offer. Or they're going to try to upsell you and sell you more things. They're going to try to get you to cheat on me with them. That's going to happen. Mr. Client, I want you to know something. If any of them call you and you're interested in a particular product that they're talking about that maybe you feel I didn't talk about, please let me know, because I want to make sure that I research that product and I want to make sure that it is the very best product that there is for you. Because I'm an independent broker. And if there is something better, I want to make sure that I bring it to your doorsteps. I want to make sure that I bring it to your doorsteps. Okay? If you could do that, that would be amazing. But I hope I brought value. I hope that I could be with you for the next 10, 15 years, even though I know in the next week to 5 months, there's going to be an insurance agent who's going to call you, try to get you to cheat on me. I want you to know I am wifey material. I am not side chick material. I literally say it like that. Shelly, you laughing, but that's what I'm looking for. I want that laugh. Robertson, you're laughing. Paula, you're laughing. That little bit, I promise you. You know what ends up happening sometimes? They'll call you a month later. Tony, you were right. Somebody called me. They told me that, you know, they were going to sell me a better policy, but you know what? I didn't cheat on you. I appreciate it. Who was the person that called you? What was his name and number? Oh, here's his name. Here's his number. Why do you want it? I'm going to try to recruit him. You get what I'm saying? But guys, you got to bring in your personality. That generation is all about that personality, value. They're loyal. That generation is loyal. You will be their insurance person. Mr. Klein, before you go, do you happen to have Medicare? I do have Medicare. Which plan do you have? Do you have your card? Let me see your prescription. Let me see your card. Let me see your prescription card. I work with an individual named Howard Rabinowitz. He's one of the best in the market space for Medicare. Maybe he can even help you there and free up some extra dollars. Right? Mr. Klein, just out of curiosity, where do you and the missus like to go out to eat? Because I just want to make sure next year for your birthday, if I'm in town, we can take you out. I'd love to take you out to eat. Where do you like to eat at? Well, we love going to Golden Corral. We love Bob Evans. Whatever it is. Guys, I promise you, in Christmas, send them a $20 gift card. See if that don't do something. That generation respects loyalty, respects customer service. They respect it. They won't forget it. They won't forget it. I promise you, they won't forget it. They'll refer you to other people in their age bracket, from the bingo, from the whatever it is they go do. They'll refer you into their family, and you will retain that person long term, and you will prevent replacements, chargebacks left and right by operating that method. Or don't take my advice. Be transactional. Be a quick transaction, okay? And just keep that wheel going. Keep that wheel going. Keep that wheel going, because your book of business, I'm gonna tell you something. If you don't retain your book of business, you don't retain your renewals. That means that you're always starting again from the beginning, starting again. That's like being a realtor. You sell a house, make a commission, you got to go find somebody else to sell another house to, because you're not getting any renewals for it. So retention of your book of business is what creates passive income as well. You got to retain them. You got to retain them. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Let me. Oh, good. Okay, good, cool. All right, so we're going to finish up here, guys. You're free to hang on a little bit longer. Okay, you're free to hang on a little bit longer. I ask you one thing and one thing only. One thing. If you're gonna hang out, take notes, be there for the whole thing. Don't unplug, because every time you unplug, you hear that and it disrupts the interview that I'm about to be doing. Okay, number one. And number two, get on the Voxer. Give me and give the rest of the agents your two biggest takeaways from this training today. I like knowing what was the value that I brought to the table for you guys, because I need to hear it from your perspectives. Okay, I need to hear that from your perspectives. Okay, I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer. I'm going to contact my next meeting that I have, and hopefully we have it. And if we don't, I'll reschedule it. But thank you guys so much for being on. I appreciate you guys. I value you guys. Hopefully you guys rank 300,000 in production today and go out there and kill it. Michelle, what's your site again? My personal site is Tony Martinez Finance. If anybody here is interested in getting their own personal site created, shoot me a message. I'll put you in contact with my website developer. I think she charges, like I said, $250 to do it. That's what she charges me. But our company site is tkofinancialnetwork.com. Okay, look at the agency owners tab. You'll see the agency owners there and all the stuff that we do. I appreciate you guys. Let me